Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Ghebreyesus. Let's get to it. It's Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. Welcome to Day 70. Biden announced what he called a trailblazing set of 11 judicial nominees who reflect the full diversity of the American people, both in background and in professional experience. Biden's list of nominees includes 9 women and 9 people of color. Among the group, Ketanji Brown Jackson was nominated for the U.S. Court of Appeals seat vacated by Merrick Garland when he became U.S. Attorney General. Jackson is considered a potential Supreme Court contender. Chuck Schumer pledged to quickly confirm Biden's first batch of nominees in order to significantly mitigate the influence of Donald Trump's unqualified right-wing judges. Biden also signed a 2-month extension of the Paycheck Protection Program, which was set to expire on March 31st. The extension also gives the Small Business Administration an additional 30 days to process loans that were submitted before the new May 31st deadline. Meanwhile, a group of 21 Senate Democrats urged Biden to include recurring direct payments and an extension of jobless benefits in his infrastructure and economic recovery plan. The senators wrote, "This crisis is far from over, and families deserve certainty that they can put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. Families should not be at the mercy of constantly shifting legislative timelines and ad hoc solutions." Biden is expected to unveil his $3 to $4 trillion recovery package on Wednesday, which is expected to be split into 2 pieces of legislation. Moving on, the director of the World Health Organization said the joint mission to study the origins of the coronavirus in China did not adequately analyze the possibility of a lab leak before deciding the virus most likely spread from bats to humans via another animal. In a statement, he said, although the team has concluded that a laboratory leak is the least likely hypothesis, this requires further investigation. The United States and 13 other countries also voiced frustration with the level of access that China provided and issued a joint statement saying the mission's report lacked access to complete original data and samples. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also criticized China's lack of cooperation, saying they have not been transparent. They have not provided underlying data. That certainly doesn't qualify as cooperation. Back in the U.S., several civil rights groups have filed at least 3 legal challenges to Georgia's new voting limitations, arguing that curtailing voting access represents intentional discrimination against the state's black voters. One lawsuit filed by the Georgia NAACP and other groups said the law is the culmination of a concerted effort to suppress the participation of black voters and other voters of color by the Republican state Senate, state house, and governor. Black residents in Georgia are 88% more likely to be below poverty level and therefore less likely to have the required forms of photo identification. Meanwhile, Attorney General Merrick Garland directed Justice Department employees to examine the disturbing trend of violence committed against Asian Americans and to give priority to investigating and prosecuting hate crimes and incidents. The Biden administration also reinstated and expanded the White House initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to include coordination across federal agencies in responding to anti-Asian bias and violence. And finally, a New York Court of Appeals allowed for a defamation lawsuit against Trump to move forward. Summer Zervos, a former contestant on The Apprentice, sued Trump for defamation after he denied her allegations that he sexually assaulted her in 2007. The case had been delayed until Trump was out of office because, as a sitting president, he was immune from a lawsuit that was brought in state court. And in the polls, Gallup says 68% of Americans are satisfied with the COVID-19 vaccine process, up 34 percentage points since January. 74% of Americans say they're willing to receive a vaccine, up from 50% in September. And NPR says 52% of Americans say they approve of the job Biden is doing as president. 65% approve of his handling of the pandemic, 51% approve of his handling of the economy, and 34% approve of how he's handling immigration. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Ghebreyesus.